Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Oh, He will. He will guide me all the way.
Give it up one more time, y'all. Give it up one more time. Wow, them young people, something, ain't they? Man, I'm gonna take back there, ain't they? Bishop, they get your approval, Bishop? Bishop gets it, they get it? All right, we're in commercial break right now.
DETV has been Delaware's premium provider of creative digital and broadcasting solutions that bridges communities and connects people. We create great stories for all audiences. We deliver independent news throughout Delaware. We are digital platform innovators. And we develop marketing and sales solutions so you can stay connected to your audience. Now, why do we do what we do here on DETV? We do it because we care. So, keep watching and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Remember, DETV, online, on air, on time.
Government doesn't make a move without an agenda, some type of plan. The problem is we haven't been on the agenda. Sometimes we're overlooked. Sometimes our interests aren't the interest of those in power. I'm your host, Kerwin Gaines, on DETV's new show, The Agenda. We're going to do our best to ensure that you, Delawareans, are knowledgeable about what's going on in the Assembly. Federal government, local government, it doesn't matter. We're going to do our best to ensure that folks that make the agenda on a daily basis have to answer for it. Let them explain what they're doing. If it affects you, it's on the agenda.
Welcome back, Jack. What do you think so far?
Oh my gosh, the choir was amazing. Those soloists hit every note. I was really inspired. So glad they're here.
Oh my gosh, I think, and this is one of the reasons why JPMorgan, the city of Wilmington, why we do it for the next generation, right?
For the next generation.
And they definitely blessed us. So again, we're here at JPMorgan Chase & Company with the Black History Month event. Are you everyone having a good time? Yeah. All right. So we have a very special guest. We have some amazing panelists here to talk about their experience and what they've been doing and what they're up to and what's next. So yes. Jack, I have to ask you, why did you find fit to put this event together like this time around?
Well, JPMorgan Chase is emerging as a community bank, and we are here in zip code 19801 in downtown Wilmington, just blocks away from deep pockets of concentrated poverty. Mm-hmm. And so Black History Month really inspired me to think about how we can align our interest and bring and welcome community residents, community individuals into the building to share with them what we're doing and our efforts to really build these inclusive economies. And so this panel is really focused on Black small developers, contractors, and real estate investors to expose thriving companies, to share resources that JPMorgan Chase has, and to really have a dialogue about how we can further support small businesses of color.
Love it, love it, love it. So we're just going to see you raise your hand for me when we call your name so people can know how amazing you are and who you are.
Yes, and we're actually going to help introduce. So our program has run a little bit long, and so we are going to condense this a little bit so that we can really get into the meat of the conversation. And so I'll start. I'll start with Nasser. So this is Nasser Mohammed. Nasser, you are 22 years old. You are a full-time student at University of Delaware. And you bought your first house at age 18, is that right? 19. At age 19, okay, great. And so I know we have young folks in the crowd. My mentee is here, Daimir, who is just 19 years old and interested in being a future developer. Talk to us a little bit about how you got started. Were you in the Jumpstart Wilmington program?
So I was in the Jumpstart Wilmington program after I purchased my first house. And that gives me a chance to compare between my first year in business and my second year in business and how much I got better and using the knowledge and leveraging the connections that I had through the Jumpstart program. First, when I was in college, my first year in college, my professor, Elizabeth Luckman, she introduced us to the Wilmington Land Bank. And then we had tours and we looked at these houses in some of Wilmington neighborhoods. And that gives me an idea of not just how can I purchase a house, but the need for development itself and how many neighborhoods do need developers in there and do need home ownership. So I purchased that first house when I was 19. And you know, the land bank, they go for very affordable price. You just need to put in the work and you need to put the money in for rehab that house. And so that first house, it took me 11 months to renovate. And that was the first year in business. I faced a lot of challenges in there, definitely because I was lacking the knowledge and experience, even more than the capital, because I was only working in one house. The capital was still an issue there. That's why I always talk about us as young developers. You know, we have a lot of energy, we have time, and we have growth mindset we want to learn and we want to invest in, but we're missing too many components. We're missing capital and we're missing experience. I was able to leverage other people's knowledge from the Jumpstart Wilmington program, people that are willing to share, people that are willing to teach younger developers what they have done and what they have learned through many years. And capital I was also using. I was also able to leverage scenarios, investments, and developing. So that was it for the first house.
And we're going to just stop you right there. That's perfect. And you hit on a number of key gems that we're going to double click on: knowledge and access to capital. Thank you.
Love it. Alicia, you and I talked offline a lot for years now, and I was so fascinated with your story of how you used to work at the bank, and I think you had a Honda Accord. How did you get started in real estate? Because when you look back, a lot of people don't see where you came from, but they look at you right now. So how did you get started in real estate?
Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Cooper Wells. And if you guys look out the window behind the 4th Street Police Station, that's where I got started. I was a single mom living in the subsidized housing. So this is actually a full circle moment for me. Thank you so much to be here today. Thank you. And my first house that I bought was actually on Walnut Street behind the MBNA building. So how I got started, I'm going to actually fast forward. I now own 103 properties from somebody who lived right there behind the 4th Street Police Station in subsidized housing and was told that I couldn't do it. So I hope that inspires everyone today, but I do want to say how, because I love actionable steps. So if you guys don't mind, if you have pens, paper, it wouldn't be right if I didn't do it this way, because it takes a plan to make it happen. So what I like to focus on is the 4 C's of underwriting, so that you never feel like a bank doesn't want to lend you money. They want to lend you money. They only make money from lending you money. So it's not a personal thing. It's often that we're missing a couple of those C's, one of those C's. And if you view those C's as a stool, like a chair that I'm sitting on now, there's 4 legs here. The best is if you have all 4 legs. But when you have great partners, you might be able to make it happen with 3. If you got really good core muscles, 2 might work, but 1 isn't gonna cut it. So what those 3 are credit, number 1. Everyone hates that, but it's just an illustration of character. So it doesn't have to be perfect credit. It's simply when you found yourself in a jam, because I'm telling you, I was a single mom living over there. I took a $1 raise all from the bank and they cut all my subsidies. So I found myself in a jam and I got through it. But how did you rebound? That's why credit is that character picture. The second thing is your capacity. And that simply is what we hear. You guys have probably heard your debt to income ratio. So even though the lender may not know all the debt you have, it really comes down to if you can come to the lender with knowing what your affordability is. For me, I remember when they first approved me for a mortgage, they didn't know I was paying $500 a month for childcare. So it's about being in control of your finances, but again, having that plan. No one likes to hear that, but that is so important. The second C is going to be, the third C is going to be your cash. And cash is more than just your down payment, because you guys could get into a house with no money down. But do you have the magic word, which is called reserves? That's money that's still left over in your bank account after you purchase the property, particularly if you're going to be purchasing in areas with distressed properties. Chases make a huge commitment to invest in what we would call disinvested neighborhoods, but you might not be able to find more money. They might have gave you enough, because I hear people keep asking for more money.
I got in the pot.
And you have to know how to get access to those. And all of you here are creative and resourceful, and you'll make it happen. But if you stick to the plan and keep your credit and the capacity components, it's easier to find more capital to put into the deal. And then the fourth one that I'm going to mention is collateral. So there is a misconception that it's easier to sometimes buy a property that's in a really bad shape, not in a bad neighborhood, but in really bad shape, meaning I think the young lady brought it up, like they should tear it down. When they're looking at collateral from a bank's perspective, it's about, hey, do you have the resources to really bring that property up to code, bring it up to a standard that someone is going to be happy and proud to live in it, or you're going to be happy and proud to be the landlord for that property, right? We don't want to constantly get that call for repairs. So I want you guys to think about the collateral that you're buying. And just to keep it super simple when it comes to collateral, it really comes down to not how much are the houses selling for in the area. It's about how much would it take for you to get that work done, because it costs everybody a little bit different to actually acquire and get the work done. I'm part of the National Association of Black Women in Construction, but guess what? I don't know how to swing a hammer. So it's more expensive for me because I have to find talent. I have to find GCs to work these jobs because I'm not the one equipped in that place. But if I put my plan together, it always works. I'm telling you, always, because it's going to be tough, but I promise it's one house at a time.
That's beautiful. I love takeaways.
Yeah.
4 C's, right? What were those 4 C's? Who remembers?
I saw some people writing it down.
I saw too. Cash, credit. Capacity, collateral.
Love
nice.
it. Love it.
Yes. So let's start with you. You also dropped a lot of gems, Alicia, and you mentioned finances. Michelle Lawrence. Michelle Lawrence is a managing director, head of community business development for 25 states at Chase. You were retired, right, after 28 years, and then came back to do some more work in community.
See the Michael Jordan of community.
Yes. Glad you're here. Tell us a little bit about community and business development, what that looks like at JPMorgan Chase in the framework of our racial equity commitment.
I just whispered to Sean, we need to hire her, Angela, to come and start teaching our financial health. What a great job around credit. Good afternoon, everyone. I do have the distinct honor and privilege of leading that line of business where we take very seriously the 4 C's that you mentioned, and we take very seriously the plan that you also referenced, which is budgeting and saving. So if I were to ask, just by a show of hands in this room, how many of you have a budget? Now, how many of you operate by your budget? Yeah, you see, you notice that. Notice that. That's the plan. And so we take it very seriously that if we equip folks to understand that having the budget, managing to the budget, allows you to get to 103 houses. It's not a secret sauce. It is discipline. It is discipline. It is discipline. And so with that discipline, you then earn the right to be able to go from 1 to 10 to 20 to 103, because you learn that it's not if I had $1 million. $1 million with no discipline just means I would get broke a little bit later. How many times have we seen people win the Powerball and we're like, and they won multiple millions in less than 2 years. And we're saying, what happened? It's because they didn't have the discipline and the plan. And so it's not how do I get the money, it's do I have the discipline in managing it when I do get it. So my behaviors around $1, which is what we teach. If you save $1 a day, right, Darren? Where's Darren Wilson? We say $1 a day is $365 a year. So if I have the discipline for $365, then I'll have the discipline if it becomes $2 a day. So that's the importance of what we do in every community. And Tom Horn, I'm not going to embarrass him right now, but he does. He is so serious about our commitment to getting out and making sure that this message is a part of every community we're in, that he signs up. He's like, Michelle, where's the community center? And when are we going to get one in Delaware? So he was on it. And that is also what's different from us. We have 17 community centers. That means you walk into 17 of our branches, there is an actual place where we host workshops for free. You do not have to be a customer, and we teach you these fundamentals with the intentionality that we are breaking generational curses and we are setting you up for opportunities to begin building legacy wealth.
That's beautiful, Michelle.
Yeah. And that's important. That's important. Because, where we come from, where I come from, and some other people in this community, we're not taught how to be empowered by finances or even manage finances, right? You get $1, you burn $1. So that's very important, especially for business owners. How many business owners do we have here?
A lot.
Oh, wow. So this question is for Daniel. For James. James, you work in the mayor's office, right? Can you talk to us a little bit about technical assistance that you have for business owners in the city of Wilmington?
Absolutely. Thank you for the introduction. As Ivan pointed out, I am the Small and Minority Business Development Manager within the Mayor's Office of Economic Development. City Treasurer Dwayne Sims previously held this role, so he passed the baton to me. Thankfully, I've been in good hands since. My office mates, actually our director, Sean Parks, and our project manager, Peter Weir, in the back here. So thankful to be here, thankful for the partnership that JPMorgan Chase has brought here to our city with the CDFIs. In terms of some of the mentorship that we support, our office, it's a fairly small office, but we get involved with the community, with business owners, by really working with the ecosystem of partners that we have. We are very fortunate here in the city of Wilmington to have some really great organizations, most of which I see here today, like Wilmington Alliance, True Access Capital, obviously, the neighborhood partners, among many others. So including the Small Business Development Center, which is a huge resource for small business owners. They provide free resources, free business plan writing, free guidance for new business owners. So we really try to be the liaison between many of these programs. Many of these programs have taken the resources that were put forth by the Equitable CDFI partnership and have really put them to good use. These organizations know the communities that they're serving. They work closely with business owners and residents in a number of ways. But generally, we look to that ecosystem to help provide services. In my role, I'm fortunate that I get to meet a lot of great business owners, a lot of great entrepreneurs, people who are just looking to learn information or to gain resources that the city has to offer. And, I think at the end of the day, we try to connect dots as best we can. So we also do provide, as much insight and guidance as we can. Obviously, being a government department, we have information generally that, that can help business owners. We can make connections between different departments, whether it be challenges with L&I, fire marshals, you name it, in your process and what your business may be experiencing. We can also, we can often help to make connections to help overcome hurdles or challenges and to generally provide some good guidance for business owners. So there's a lot that we do internally as well. But in general, our office works with businesses of all sizes, large and small. My role primarily focuses on the small and minority businesses.
When I started my business out of my basement, right, I had a conversation with one of the developers here in the city of Wilmington, and I said, where do you see Wilmington in the next 5 years, or next 10 years? And then I built my model around that. Wayne Gretzky said, I'm great because I skate where the puck is going to be. Can you tell me where Wilmington is going to be, where you see Wilmington from your vantage point in the next 5 to 10 years? Because maybe some of these business owners can build their model around the expectation.
Absolutely. Good question. So I can see Wilmington becoming a destination here on the eastern kind of metropolitan area. We're perfectly positioned geographically. We have great connectivity, rail, highway, airports that, the Newcastle Airport is working on increasing its capacity in some really good ways. We have Amtrak, we have, train stations. So I can see this being a great hub for business, a great destination where people can come, live, work, and play. And, you can see that as evidenced by all the great construction and development that's going on, for the past 5 or so years. I think that's going to continue. We're going to see an influx of new residents, of new businesses where people can work and enjoy themselves. And I see that Wilmington kind of becoming the as if we're not already, we're just a kind of a hidden gem, but becoming a real gem, kind of between Philadelphia, D.C., with New York just above.
That's beautiful. So Daniel Harvey is our next panelist. Did that convince you to move to Wilmington from Philadelphia?
Maybe not move, but I may invest for sure.
I like it. I like it.
I've been a Philly guy a long time, but y'all making Wilmington sound real good.
Oh, Wilmington's good, man.
So Daniel, you got a job as a union electrician working for SEPTA right out of Dobbins High School, which was a VOTEC school. You started making money at a young age. Your mom was a real estate agent, and you bought your first house at the age of 20. Is that right?
That's correct. That was about 2021.
And now you have a $7 million real estate portfolio?
Yeah, that was an old bio. I got to update that.
Oh, okay.
That's an old bio. It's an old bio. Yeah, it's a bit larger. But yeah, I started out at SEPTA. So, definitely shout out to VOTEC School. So along with all this, business owners, a lot of it starts with having some skill where you can earn money. Right. And so I was very fortunate to go to Dobbins and I had a co-op job at SEPTA. So when I graduated from high school, I had that good job. Right. And so my mom was ecstatic. Fast forward a few years, I started another business where I did events, grew that to doing small stadium size events like stadiums that are 10,000 seaters. Actually thought that's how I would become wealthy. That's not what happened, but that was the plan. And seeing that I was a young guy, I was in my early 20s, and she didn't want me to do what like a lot of young guys do when they start making money, buy cars and jewelry or whatever, things that wouldn't matter now. So she was like, "Why don't you invest in real estate?" And I did not want to invest at all, but I love my mom. So I said, well, I'll go out and look and I'll tell her no later on. I'll make her feel good about it. And what ends up happening is as I was out looking at properties, it kind of hit me like, okay, I have my job, I have a business, and I could also have this third income stream. So that's how I got started.
And you had some intention behind that too. So I remember from our conversations, your goal was to retire by 35.
Yeah. So that happened a little bit later. So, I started buying properties and I was making money and I had no idea what I was doing. And I said, well, if I read some books, I may be dangerous. So I got serious about it. And I decided right when I turned 30, that when I turned 35, I would retire. But I technically quit SEPTA. And so what I did from that point forward, every decision I made was towards that end. So I started buying properties, probably very similar to your strategy. I would buy properties cash. I would fix them up. I would go to a lender. I would do a refi cash out, and I would do it over and over again. But the other piece of it was I kept my lifestyle the same, which was very, very important. As I purchased more and more real estate, I didn't increase my lifestyle. And so I was able to retire December 24th, 2014. So 3 days prior to my 35th birthday, I did it.
Yes.
Nice. So it sounds like we're back to that word discipline again.
Discipline, yes. So the gems that I pulled out were intent. Be intentional about your investment strategy, your investment plan. Be disciplined, live below your means, and execute that buy flip strategy. That's what you did.
Absolutely.
Great.
All right, Sean. Love the jacket, baby.
So before we that, I actually do want to recognize the choir. I see the choir is leaving right now, so you know. The choir was great, and I did see one lady, one young lady in that group raise her hand twice. Once for when there was a business. So before you leave, could you tell us what business you have? A bakery.
Come up real quick and ask your question, because we want to hear this real quick.
Yeah, we gotta recognize excellence, right? So.
She had a question. She was just.
And I think she was also a lady who raised her hand when we asked about the budget.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So.
Yeah. We definitely. Hey, Sean, can you give her? Yeah. No, don't worry about it. We got it, bro. We on the network.
So I started off in 3rd grade, and we were doing a goods and services project. And so I had it was like a group thing, but then I started doing my own thing. And I called it Sweet and Delish, and then we started baking. My friend bought the cupcakes, and I was like, oh, okay. And while the store I bought it from the store, and I started baking. I searched up how to make cupcakes. And I just made a bunch of cupcakes. Everybody was like, this is good. And yeah, that's how I started it.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. So question for you. Where do you see your cupcake, where do you see the business in the next couple of years?
I think I need enough resources for me to build up. I don't know. I think I need to post about it more and share. But I do look at buildings, old buildings. I'm like, this could be
visionary.
Yeah.
Sean, tell her how, with your position that you've been with Chase for 20 years, right? Tell her about how your program could help her.
So I'm actually going to make it live right now. So I have a consultant in the back there right now, Josue. I want you to actually connect with him, and he's going to help you when you go forward from here.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
But I do want something back. I do want to be part of the choir. Even though I can't sing, I was very humbled by the fact that I tried, they didn't want to let me in.
We're going to give you the solo.
Yeah.
Solo. You sing solo.
Listen, I was humbled twice today, okay? Once was when I tried out for the choir and they said no. And then the second time I sat here and I saw a bunch of people taking on the phones and I was like, oh, they're taking pictures of me. And I realized it's actually the code in the back. So anyway.
So Sean, tell everyone you've been with Chase for 20 years and you're the head of the diverse business program here. Can you talk to the people and tell us how your program helps shrink the gap, the racial wealth gap?
Yeah, so thank you for that. So Sean Ramsey-Wack. So I lead a team of senior business consultants from Boston down to DC, and including Wilmington, which is one of our new spots that we're going to focus on. Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Wilmington, Baltimore, and DC, where we have consultants in each one of these cities that support diverse-owned small businesses. Diverse-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses. We would support anyone that needs mentorship and consultancy, but we do want to be intentional in our approach to address some of the inequities that exist within the communities. So how this works is that you don't actually have to be a customer of Chase to be part of our program. We never require you to be part of Chase. We will talk to you about what good banking looks like, right? And even invite you to come to our branches so that they can understand what it is why it's so important to have a good banking relationship. But we don't require you to be part of Chase. And about half of the people, and last year we consulted nationally because we actually in 21 cities nationally, we consulted for over 5,000 businesses last year, right? My team alone.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's a lot.
My team alone did 1,200 businesses. And these businesses are typically, they are in business at least 2 years in business, doing at least $100,000 in revenue. Some of our people in our program are $10 million businesses, so we don't really have a cap on how big the businesses are. And what we do, in a nutshell, is we come into the business, we do a SWOT analysis of the business, because this is really about us meeting where you are. This is not about banks telling you what you need to do. This is about us understanding your business. So we do a SWOT analysis. We figure out what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, threats of that business. And then from there, our consultants go through our mentorship consultancy of about 4 months typically, where we focus on access to capital, cash flow, business development, organization management, and then also building a team of trusted advisors. And through that mentorship, we really figure out exactly how that business could scale, how can that business grow. And, you know, again, I like to bring things visual. So I just kind of share what it looks like in reality. So, you know, typically with banks, a business customer might walk into a branch and say, oh, you know, I'm thinking about financing for my business. What do I need to do? And, you know, most banks, including Chase, you'll sit to the banker, talk to them about what you need the capital for, then probably go through a loan application. If you get approved, you get approved. If not, well, you know, that's kind of the end of the road a lot of times, right? For us, it is very different. What we do as consultants, and I want to make this clear, we don't sell any product. Right? Like our consultancy, we do not sell products. What we do is we look at that business and we figure out from the opposite end of the spectrum, before we start talking about capital, let's look at intellectual capital. Let's look at your social capital. Let us actually look and see, do you have a problem that could be fixed through debt financing, or is this a problem of business development? Do you need more customers? Do you actually need to actually run your business differently from an organization perspective? Do you need different advisors, right? These are the things that we actually focus on. Now, again, if it ends up being that you do need financial capital, we absolutely could help you from that perspective. We could show you where you could go within Chase. But to this point in this conversation here within this forum, we also let people understand what alternative lending looks like, right? In the form of CDFIs, in the form of grants, in the form of like city funding. So we do open up a lot of different avenues to people who may not qualify or may not even be interested in conventional financing, so that through these partnerships with these CDFIs, we do educate people about how CDFIs work. You know, we help them understand navigating that world around different CDFIs, the different programs that CDFIs may have also. So again, that's what we do, you know, and we do this and we continue to do this. Just one thing I'll add here. We started this off 3 years ago as a little test project in Chase, 4 cities, 8 consultants. Very quickly, we grew to 21 cities. This year, we're actually going to go into 38 cities around the US, doubling down, having almost 80-something consultants within the country to really make an impact in these communities.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
you.
Oh, that's amazing. So this next question is for you three, and please jump in. Because how many Jumpstart graduates we have here?
Lots.
Okay. So we have a lot of Jumpstart graduates here. Can you explain some of maybe one of the hardest moments you had in coming into real estate and how you came through it? Something that could motivate the new developer.
Sure. I was a Jumpstart Germantown, Germantown mentor too for a while. So I know Ken Weinstein, the guy who set it up. So that's a great group. So I'd say one of the hardest things that I've gone through in the business was after I left SEPTA. Things were going really good. I was building. I had plenty of experience at this time. I had some resources. I had a bunch of private money lined up, and really started rocking and rolling. I went from doing maybe 2-3 properties at a time to doing 10. And it all fell apart. And I'll tell you, I had one project in that I was working on. I lost like $110,000 on. And it taught me a lesson. It taught me a couple of lessons. One is what got me to that point was not going to get me to the next level, right? So what got me to that level was like kind of hard work and keeping everything kind of close to the chest. And I was raising the money. I was managing the tenants. I was managing managing all of the rehabs, and that worked up to a certain point until it no longer worked. Right. So every level is going to require a different you. Right. And so you have to understand that. And a big piece of that is working on your mindset, like realizing that there's just things that you just don't know. And being in places like this where you can reach out to people that know more than you do. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I'm sure we've all heard that. And that's really big. You don't want to be the smartest person. So what got me to one level, or what got you to one level, won't get you to the next level, and that's okay, right? But that's why you keep growing, and search out groups like this to keep you pushing. And if you have a setback, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it didn't kill me. Mm-hmm. Like, growing up, kind of the same way a lot of people here said, not like a lot of money. Thinking even the thought of losing that much money is like you're gonna like somehow. It's like Thanos snapping his finger and you turn into ash. But that didn't happen. I mean, it sucked horribly. But I'm still here, and I learned from it.
Right.
That's the most important part. And I learned from it, and I did something better. So, I think.
And you mentioned a theme that we've heard from several of our panelists. Surround yourself with people who know more than you, and that mentorship piece. Right. So just want to ask Nasser and then Alicia to talk. Nasser, talk a little bit about, who was a mentor in your process? What did that look like? I know you mentioned in your first deal, I think you
did not have any mentors in the first one.
Use your mic.
I did not have any mentors in the first one, and I had a lot of problem with that. The second deal, or I'd say the second year overall, when I was a part of the Jumpstart Wilmington program, I had everybody in that program that had more knowledge than I do as a mentor. So I did leverage that information that I was getting. As I mentioned before, me and other people in my position, we are missing knowledge and we are missing experience when we just start, along with Capital. But Jumpstart Wilmington contributed to my knowledge and education the most. Especially dealing with all the people that you need to deal with within the business, and actually treating what you do as a business and not just like a side hustle, or, you do make money, but you need to, in order for that money stream to continue, you need to treat it as a full business. And that's where I learned to do that and treat my business as an actual business. And an advice that I would just share with everyone is, that I've also learned through the classes in Jumpstart Wilmington, is to manage your financing very carefully. A lot of people, I would say, that would fail in business would either fail because they don't have access to capital, or because they did have that access to capital, but they did not use it wisely. Mm-hmm. You need to treat that money that you get to run your business as a money that you will eventually pay back. And you need to pay back with interest. So you need to be using that at good use. You don't treat that money in your bank account as like a free money. It's not you would end up in big trouble. And I would say to anybody that would also start to cut the unnecessary expenses, cut 100% of the unnecessary expenses, especially us when we start the first business. We have that idea of, the business must have a really nice office, must have employees, must have that. If you go into that too early and start treating your business that are still a baby and treat it like a 10 or 15-year-old business, this is not really the way it works. I would say create value first in your business and offer that value, and that you would eventually get paid for, and then you can just scale and grow up and actually be a big business like the other ones.
That's really insightful.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if DETV and JPMorgan Chase partnered and offered this kind of information to people all over Delaware?
I love that plug. Tom, what you think, Tom? All right. Does that mean a lunch? All right.
Alicia, what would you add?
I think these guys have really covered, that's the obstacles of learning how to run a business. And I think often when we first get into real estate, we don't see it as a business. Like, we just jump in like, oh, I'm gonna flip houses, instead of figuring out what part of the business are we going to be in? And because I am a investor at this point. I don't swing a hammer. I keep wanting to say that because I find like people are like, oh, you got to know contractors. I'm like, I know them, but I can't share them with you because then they can't get my job done. So, and you know, when you jump in, are you going to be a landlord, right? So if you want to write this down, like know what role you want to play because it'll help you communicate with your banker a lot better when, or whoever you're going to get money. So are you going to be the investor? Are you going to be the contractor on the job? Are you going to be the property manager on the job? That way we can figure out together and collectively on how this is going to get funded along the way as a business because it's more than just one house being flipped.
Yeah. Do you hear a lot of people say when you ask that question, what do you want to be? They were like, I want to flip. I want to be a landlord.
Well, no, they don't break it down that way. They're like, I saw on HGTV that this house can get flipped a certain way.
Right.
And that's what made me fund my company, Biz Fund Academy, because you need coaches and mentor. So I hope you hear that consistent trend. And if you can get a free coach, because I'm telling you, I paid a lot of money for coaching. And now I have several coaches because I need one to help me on my mindset. When you have 103 properties, I'm trying to tell you, and you hear sob stories, and I was a person who had a sob story and still want to remain grateful to God for the opportunity and make sure I'm doing and being a good steward of what I have. At the same time, it plays on your mental, financially, like market conditions that you're not in control of. You know, COVID for some people was a horrible period. For real estate investors, since they thought the world was going to end and interest rates were super low, it was like Christmas for us, right? So you never know how the conditions can make a difference. And taking information from what you may have seen during COVID, I want everyone to beware when buying right now. Interest rates back then to what they are now really affects what the cost of money is. So when you're flipping, you can look and you can see like, oh, I'm gonna make $200,000 on this property because I'm getting it for this amount. But you don't know how much it's gonna actually cost to make that mortgage payment every month, pay your contractors, you know, and just, what if it doesn't sell right away? We all hope every property will sell the next day. And having your team of professionals around you, but everybody here, if there's an opportunity for you to get free coaching and free mentorship, I'm telling you, you hop on that. And then after the 4 months, if you want to see me, I'm available.
I love it. I love it. And with that being said, we're going to open the floor for Q&A real quick. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, y'all good? Yeah. Y'all good? All right. Wait a minute. We're going to get your microphone.
Thank you.
Can you stand up for me so the camera can get you?
Thank you. First off, this was absolutely amazing. I learned a whole lot today. I came here just kind of to be a part and support it, and I got a full education. So I appreciate you all sharing and being so honest about your experiences and what you have to offer. And to all the people in our community who've made this happen, Tom, and all of the people who, Van, I'm just overwhelmed and I'm amazed and I'm proud to be a Wilmingtonian. My question is, how do you get past decision paralysis? How do you decide what that business is? You guys chose real estate, but there are lots of different businesses that one can enter while maintaining a full-time job, getting health benefits and maintaining their family. How do you get started? I've been thinking about businesses for years, but I go through the financials, oh, this doesn't make sense. It's really hard to find a business that actually makes money. The YouTubers are talking about all this money that can be made, but it is really hard when you actually get in the spreadsheet and you go, that doesn't add up. How do you get past that?
I'll jump in. I'm going to say for most businesses don't make money, but if you can lead first with passion, that will also, that's the most important part. For me, I wear this key around my neck. This is my grandmother's house key, so I walk with my ancestors daily. And I've been charged, like, I feel like, to make sure everyone has the keys. Knowledge empowers you. So I didn't want to ever be in a position of being homeless again. I never wanted to be in a position that I wouldn't have if someone else needed. So was I profitable at the beginning? Heck no. Heck no. I kept my job, kept my benefits, because I couldn't just jump out there. I had a child to take care of, and full transparency, with a baby dad that I could not find. So I needed to make a decision on what was going to keep me motivated, which was the passion piece, but also keep food on the table. So having the analysis paralysis, if you're led strictly by profit, it won't work.
If I could add one thing there. So even from like a finance perspective, one of the things that model is a benefit to you is that if you just quit your job and try to open a business and you're looking for financing, it's going to be a problem because you're not going to have any money to lend against, right? But if you actually have a job and you run a business and you're looking for money, the banks can look at total income. So the money that you're making from your job could actually be used as an offset to actually get a business loan. So it makes sense from that perspective too.
Yeah, so one of the things that I would add outside of the finances is mindset. So what's driving you? Where's that fear coming from? Because a lot of times we've been raised with fear and well, I don't want to lose. And so sometimes we have to check that first. So even before we can start to think about making any money, one of the biggest things we didn't really get a chance to talk about this here that I had to work on to even get to this place now was my mind. So before the skill sets, because if I had the same mindset, none of these skill sets would have helped me, right? Because I would have kept myself back. I was extremely fearful when I was leaving that good job that I was at 18 years. Right? There were a ton of things that could go wrong, but what if it goes right? And what is it about my mindset, maybe, or your mindset, or anybody's mindset that's driving them to the idea that things won't work out all the time? So I would dig into the mindset piece of it, right? And that's for everybody, right? Your money will never exceed your mindset. Right? I think that was Jim Rohn that said something on those lines, but that's super, super important. As you move up, your mindset has to move up, right? Has to, which means a lot of times you have to be very careful about who you are around because people will speak fear into you. So when I decided I was going to leave SEPTA, I decided at 30, I left at 35. I didn't tell anybody until about 3 months out. And that's because my wife made me. She was like, yeah, you should probably tell them you're going to quit. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because I didn't want anybody to speak fear into me. Right. And immediately when I told people, wow, why are you sure you want to leave? Why, I mean, you've been here all these years. And what about your pension? That has nothing to do with me. That was their fears that they were trying to put into me, right? That's how they felt about it. And if I'd have got that years earlier, I'm sure it would have affected how I moved. So just think about that mindset piece, but that's basically for everybody. The mindset is super, super important.
All right. Any other questions? We got one right up in the back.
Yes, thank you all so much. We've been hearing a lot about...
Stand up for me.
Good afternoon, everyone. Joel Amin with Sinair. We've been hearing a lot about the lack of skilled trades workers, and in particular, the age of them. So how is that issue affecting your businesses, and what is your strategy to deal with this, to address this?
Yeah, so that's really big. There was a push for a long time to kind of get kids out of trade and, kind of push them into college. And now that's starting to bear fruit, kind of, but in some negative ways too, because there's not enough people to go into the trades. So when things were really booming, it was hard to find contractors. So to the point that you made earlier, if you had a good contractor, they were like gold. Like, there's no way in the world I'm sharing this person with you, right? So some of the ways that I work with that is I work with my old school, Dobbins. I try to go there. I speak to the kids. I let them know how having those skill sets help me out, because sometimes the world will try to frame your life for you. Like, if you're a blue collar guy, this is your life. It's like, no, you can have a blue collar job and you can still learn and read, and you can be involved in business. You are not in a box, right? So you can take those skill sets to make money, take that money and invest. So, I mean, I would say just getting in front of younger people and advising them that there's nothing that is dishonorable about working with your hands. There's nothing bad about that, right? And I like to use my own life experience to show them, hey, you can use those skills to go ahead and basically finance your life, because that's what I did. I would go to a bank, and I had a full-time job that I've been working at for 10 years, making good money. So it made that it made that approval process for them a lot easier. So it's about putting a lot of these pieces and creating your own roadmap. That's what I think.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Shameless plug to NABWIC, which is the National Association of Black Women in Construction. If you guys have a chapter in your area, that is a great place to find up-and-coming contractors who need an opportunity to get started. They may have recently graduated from a trade school. It isn't just women, but there's men as well. And I'm part of that organization, so if you need information on that, so I go to them. Just like you said, you have to go back into your community. We have to create a healthy community, and that's making sure that we're helping the people around us. But sometimes you just don't know where to go. And then the nerd in me, or the banker business, is I'm really big on making sure my contractor takes these same steps, right? We need to have a plan as well. So I'm gonna give you another set of 4 C's. When you're picking a contractor, I like to see their credit. I wanna know if they have the capacity to take my job.
You want to see if the contractor's credit. Why is that important?
Because I want to know, can they get access to a line of credit if something pops up? Okay. When they open up that wall and they didn't expect asbestos back there. Mm-hmm. So now we need environmental services. Is the deal going to be blown? And that's not just my responsibility to acquire all of that risk alone.
You usually charge for this, don't you? That's good. That's good right there. That's
so
good.
Credit. The second is their capacity. So you'll meet a contractor, but you want to ask, can you actually take on my job? Sometimes they're super busy. Like I said, a really good one, they are golden. So they might not have the capacity to take on your job. The third is their crew. So they may refer it to another person or to their crew. You want to say, hey, I want to know who's actually doing my work. Is it going to be you? Are you hiring a crew? Are you hiring technical people? And then the fourth is communication. How are we going to communicate the process along the way? I'm not going to the house every day. My kids are not, going to let me. My life, I'm married, I have kids. I can't get to a job site every single day. So how are you going to communicate with me so I know progress is actually happening? And that communication, I'm not breathing over his neck as he's doing the work. And I also can make sure that it aligns with what the bank wants on how the process is going to get done. You can't just say, I'm going to do all the flooring in the house. You might have meant, I'm just going to do the flooring on the first floor. And that's phase 1. So you want to have that communication line along the way to prevent hangups.
Love it. Great. That's great advice.
Last question.
Last question? Where we at? Oh, wait.
My name is Damir Akins, and Jack is a mentor of mine. I'm 19. I do pretty good for myself, and this year I plan on buying 2 properties. And this question is more so for Daniel and Nasser, you being so young. Buying your first properties, and me being from Philly, I lived right around the corner from Dobbins for a majority of my life. what's some things I should look out for in investing in Philly, and some things I should look out for investing so young?
Good question.
So you want to start with the Philly?
Yep.
Are you going to be, is this a flip or are you holding the property?
One hold, one primary residence for a FHA loan, and multifamily.
Okay. So if you're going to be a landlord in Philly, you want to understand the rules of Philly, right? It is.
Somebody got a property in Philly.
Yeah. So you heard that rumble that just kind of went through. You have, this is something you got to take seriously. You have to understand what that process is for you to be a compliant landlord, right? And that's from how to get the license, to how you can screen the tenants, to all of the documents that you have to give the tenants. Is any piece of that you don't get right is going to be a problem. And it's not to scare you. It's not that difficult, but you just need to understand that process. As far as like a flip, you want to know good lenders and build those relationships, right? And then lastly, I'd say get into rooms with other investors. I run a group in Philly, but it's national too. It's called BRAG, it's the Black Real Estate Alliance Group, and we meet monthly. And the idea, the reason why I created BRAG, I mean, this is great to see. I've been investing for over 20 years. But I would go to events, the rooms wouldn't look like this, right? And so I said, and I'm not a complainer. So it's like, well, if I don't see it, I'm just going to create it. And so that's what we've done. And we have thousands of members now. And the idea is to share value, right? So super, super important. I'll give you this tip. Whenever you go into any realm, always, this is for everybody, not just for you, always add value first. Before you ask for anything, add value. Find some way, even if it's simple. How can I add value to this person? And you will always do great.
Awesome.
So, young brother, it sounds like my man just said to get to know Wilmington and start investing here in the city of Wilmington as well.
That's what I heard.
Sounds like it's a
I love that translation.
A lot easier to do business, a good place to invest in. There's hundreds of properties for sure that are currently being invested in here on the east side and across the city. So just wanted to get that information.
No, you got that. Yeah, I heard that.
Nasser, did you want to add?
Yes. First of all, congratulations. And I want to let you know that you are very fortunate to have all the resources in this room when you just started. So this is great, and I'm pretty sure you'll be very successful. And an advice that I wanted to give to you is don't hesitate to pay for professionals, especially when you're starting. And it should go along the way, but especially when you're starting and you don't have as much experience as other people, you really want to have professionals by your side, and don't make it a habit of picking the cheapest option you have. Like they say, cheap is expensive. You don't want to do that. You don't want to end up doing a job twice. You don't want to end up firing 3-4 contractors in the middle of a job. I did the same mistake when I started on my first project, because I thought the main thing I needed to do was to save money on every corner, and that costed me time. That costed me a lot of time. I've spent a whole year renovating one house just to save $500 here and $1,000 there and $1,500 here. Meanwhile, I could have ended that in 3-4 months and did the second, did the third was in that same year, and probably doubled or tripled my net income at the end of the year. So I would say always go for professionals. Don't hesitate.
That's a gem.
Wow.
Hashtag cheap is expensive.
Yeah,
I like
cheap
that.
is expensive.
Yes.
You remember back in the early '90s, people used to put stuff on the side of their car. We'll put that right on mine. Cheap and it's expensive. All right, time's up. Yes. All right, so we're going to close out real quick. So real quick, can you give a word of advice, real quick?
Sure. It is possible. So if you want to get involved with real estate or business, it is actually possible, as long as you put the work in, work on your mindset, and get around a good group of people, which you have here. It's possible.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm going to say, in order to make impact, you have to disrupt. So remember, things that were once legal didn't mean they were right. Slavery was once legal. Somebody had to break the rules for that to no longer be a law. So don't be afraid of the rules. And I want to acknowledge it takes risk to get rich. So you're going to have to take risks, but there are more calculated ways to jump out there.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I would say find your why or find the reason behind everything you do. It's really going to make things easier, and it's going to light up your way and tell you exactly what you need to do. For example, if your reason is your family, you would do things that you probably wouldn't do if your reason was just you want fancy cars. If you're married and you have kids and your reason was your kids, you probably have a different approach of real estate that you want to leave your kids was, a fortune. You want to leave that generation wealth going. So I would really say find your why and define your reason and make it very clear. It's going to define everything else that you do.
I would say get prepared. So do your research, learn other businesses and meet other entrepreneurs who are doing business such as yours to learn their lessons. I would say ask for help, right? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Seek help amongst the other organizations that are available, amongst other businesses. Look for opportunities to partner and work together. You can go a long way by working together, a lot further than you can on your own, especially as you're getting started. And I guess lastly, do business here in the city of Wilmington. It's a great place to invest right now. I can't overemphasize that.
So James referenced a book that I had to read a long time ago, and it's called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Mm-hmm. And it really is a book. And so I would say to you, it is applicable that you are relying on talents and skills, and now you have aspirations for the next thing, and you may have to enhance or develop a new skill in order to accomplish and to succeed at the next level. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would offer up is it takes your hands, your head, and your heart. Don't lean in too much on one and forget about the others. There's a delicate balance to how you're going to make the decision and how you're going to succeed at that next level. If you think about it too long, then you're over calculating. If you lead with your heart, you'll be broke. And if you don't intend to get your hands dirty, then the work won't get done and no one's going to follow you or help you. So the delicate balance of your hands, your head, and your heart will always get you to have a more collaborative effort.
I wanted to say preach, preacher.
She is a preacher, right? So the word that I would use is clarity, right? Have a clear vision around what it is that you're trying to do. Have clarity around your processes, have clarity about what is actually you're going to need to get there, and have clear metrics around how you're going to decide what is success.
How about you, Jack?
I would say take advantage of every opportunity. The fact that you guys are here in this room absorbing all of this knowledge, take advantage of the people that are here and the expertise, network, and make it happen.
That's right. That's right. All right.
Ivan?
Oh.
Last thoughts?
Last thoughts. And I'm going to leave it with humanity. First of all, let me say thank you to everyone that came on the panel. And let's give them a round of applause. And thank you, Chase, JPMorgan Chase. Thank you so much. Thank you. Jack, this is an amazing event, and the people are watching it all over. To take us out, I want to leave us with humanity. Forgive ourselves. We have to learn how to forgive ourselves in order to move forward. And whatever we do for others is the thing that lasts, right? I learned in my journey, in my walk, don't ever do it for the money, because the money can leave, but do it for the love and do it for the people that need you. So on that note, be well, everyone. Thank you again for your experience and your time, because time means everything.
And happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.